Unleashing the Wisdom of David Hume. Chapter 1. Who was David Hume? A pioneer of human insight. David Hume was born in Edinburgh in 1711, the son of a linen merchant, but he never became a merchant. Instead, he became one of the most influential observers of human nature. At the age of 14, he was already publishing essays that challenged the accepted ideas of the day. He was the first philosopher to insist that knowledge must come from experience and that our sense of certainty may be only illusionary. Hume's early life was a lesson in curiosity over tradition. A young boy who spent nights staring at the stars asked, "Why do the stars move the way they do?" His teacher, tired of his questions, advised him to leave the world of wonder and become a clerk. Hume shrugged and kept asking questions, a habit that would shape his philosophy. The heart of Hume's legacy is the conviction that all human knowledge originates in impressions, sensory experiences that are vivid and unfiltered. From these impressions, we build ideas by abstracting patterns. When confronted with the weight of complex doctrines, Hume's famous quote reminds us of our own limits. "The real world is a complex of feelings, not a solid thing." In today's fast-moving world, it is easy to cling to abstract narratives, polished reports, and unquestioned assumptions. Hume's emphasis on experience forces us to re-examine everything: the decision to start a business, the partner we trust, or the product we launch. Take a familiar example. Consider the moment you decide to hire a contractor. Instead of blindly relying on a long-standing reputation, Hume would have you examine only the impressions, the contractor's track record, client testimonials, and the evidence you see firsthand. That raw data creates a clearer idea of who you will be working with. Motivational insight. If you approach every decision with the same humility and open-mindedness that Hume did, you create space for new ideas and avoid being trapped by preconceptions. Concrete application. Each morning, write down 3 questions you want answers to. At the end of the day, jot down the factual impressions you gathered that answered those questions. Over time, you'll develop a habit of collecting real evidence rather than speculation. Key takeaways. All knowledge starts with vivid impressions. Question every assumption and base decisions on concrete evidence. Treat every decision as an experiment. If you're enjoying this, please like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom. Reflective question for the audience. How would you change one daily decision if you looked only at the raw impressions available to you? Chapter 2. The 5 Pillars of Hume, Philosophy. David Hume carved his legacy around 5 core principles that we can carry into our lives today. 1. Empiricism. Knowledge comes from experience. 2. Skepticism of causation. We cannot prove cause and effect beyond habit. 3. Problem of induction. Future outcomes are not guaranteed by past patterns. 4. Moral sentiments. Ethics originates in feelings of empathy, not abstract law. 5. Naturalism. The natural world explains itself. Supernatural explanations are unneeded. 1. Empiricism. Hume famously said, "No new thing of the past was ever discovered. The past is exactly the same as we recall it." In practice, this is the mantra for learning. What I have proven through observation is what I act upon. In business, apply this with data-driven strategies. Instead of gut feeling, collect metrics, test assumptions, and pivot accordingly. 2. Skepticism of causation. Hume argued that we never see causation itself, we just see habits of association. The next time you think, because X always follows Y, X will always follow Y, ask yourself whether you have ever witnessed an exception. Create contingency plans that reflect possible deviations from expected outcomes. 3. Problem of induction. The idea that the sun will rise tomorrow rests on inductive reasoning. Hume warned that past observation does not guarantee future. In entrepreneurship, never assume market stability. Constantly test, gather new data, and adapt. 4. Moral sentiments. Hume believed that judgments of right and wrong arise from shared sentiments of sympathy. He wrote, "A person's soul would not consider any act immoral unless it is not in accordance with our sympathies." Cultivate a culture that values empathy. Hold feedback sessions that focus on what feelings participants have about decisions, not just the technical correctness. 5. Naturalism. He argued that everything can be explained within the natural realm, thereby emphasizing the importance of empirical evidence in both science and morality. Adopt a scientific mindset in corporate strategies. Use hypothesis testing to confirm the viability of any new initiative. Concrete application, daily worksheet. Empiricism check. Record one observation that challenged a previous belief. Skepticism diary. Note an instance when a habit did not hold. Induction alert. Identify a trend and list at least one scenario that could break it. Moral sentiment survey. Ask a team member how they feel about a recent decision. Naturalist review. Look for natural explanations for a recent problem instead of assigning blame. Key takeaways. Experience, not abstract speculation, guides understanding. Question every supposed rule and plan for exceptions. Ground ethics in shared human feelings. If you're enjoying this, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Reflective question for the audience. What assumptions in your daily work can you rewrite using only empirical evidence and empathy? Chapter 3, Human Action from Essays to Everyday Living. What made Hume's ideas stick is not just theory, but his own life. He declined several offers to become a fellow at the Royal Society, choosing instead to study the world through observation and questioning. His essays remain full of anecdotes that reveal how he tested his own principles. The Islands of the South Sea, S. Hume wrote a skeptical treatise on the famous South Sea bubble stock market frenzy. He did not simply criticize the bubble. He asked why people invested in irrational speculation, pointing out that the crowd's habit of buying because everyone else is buying is not a rational causal chain. The Human Nature series. He examined the workings of memory, belief, and desire, illustrating that our sense of self is an ever-changing bundle of impressions. His love letters. In his relationship with Alicia, he expressed that his affection grew through repeated encounters, in line with his theory of habit, showing how his principles governed his own feelings. These stories remind us that philosophy can dictate actions. When faced with a tempting shortcut, say a viral marketing strategy, Hume would say, only look at the evidence. Has the tactic worked for similar products before, and is it aligned with what your customers truly feel? Motivational insight. Every time you confront a new avenue, treat it as a scientific experiment. Define variables, gather data, and evaluate outcomes objectively. Concrete application for personal growth. Habit tracker. Identify a new habit you wish to adopt each week. Record the stimuli, action, and outcome. Review how the habit shapes your life. Experiment journal. Choose one business idea per month, set a measurable goal, test it in a small scope, and analyze the data before scaling. Key takeaways. Hume, life proves that curiosity leads to knowledge. The same empirical mindset that guided his essays can guide your business and personal growth. If you're enjoying this, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Reflective question for the audience. How can you reinterpret a current challenge as an experiment guided by your observations? Chapter 4, Modern Life, Hume-Style Business and Growth. The digital era demands speed, yet speed can lead to blind innovation. Hume framework acts as a compass that reminds entrepreneurs to balance action with reflection. 1. Data over intuition. Start by building dashboards that capture real customer behaviors, page views, time on page, abandonment rates. Let the numbers tell you what is working. 2. Plan for uncertainty. Design multi-path strategies. If the primary channel falters, the secondary one activates. Think of this as having contingency plans for every assumption. 3. Empathy for the consumer. Create personas not by assumptions, but by observed sentiment. Conduct brief, open-ended interviews where customers describe how they feel when using your product. 4. Iterate in natural cycles. Align your product releases with natural cycles, such as seasonal peaks or market trends, but always validate each cycle with evidence. Concrete example, Startup Pivot. A tech startup launching a project management app noticed the market flooding with similar tools. Applying Hume, they shifted focus to a niche creative teams and launched a limited beta. The beta's success hinged on gathering direct feedback, adjusting the feature set, and then scaling only after empirical proof of its demand. This pivot was not an abrupt decision. It was a series of experiments, each validated by data, not intuition. Concrete example, personal development. You aim to increase productivity. Instead of adopting a generic time management method, you log tasks, time spent, and feel for each activity. After a week, you identify which tasks align with your energy levels and which drain you, then structure your schedule based on those insights. Key takeaways. Empirical data drives smarter pivots and innovation. Prepare multiple plans to address the reality of imperfect forecasts. Empathy and experience must ground your business model. If you're enjoying this, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Reflective question for the audience. What assumption in your current project could you validate with a simple experiment? Chapter 5, The Journey Continues, Embrace the Humean Path. David Hume, Legacy teaches us that the pursuit of knowledge is not a finished product, but an ongoing voyage of questioning and observation. Each day brings new impressions that challenge our old ideas. To embody Hume in your life, commit to a nightly reflection. What new impressions did I encounter today? Did any of my expectations fall short? How did my feelings guide my decisions? What evidence will help me refine my next action? With these questions, you keep the spirit of inquiry alive. Final motivational thought. When the future seems uncertain, remember Hume's insistence that we cannot be certain. Instead, live with curiosity, humility, and a steady gathering of data. Let that be your compass. Key takeaways of the entire script. 1. All knowledge begins with vivid impressions. 2. Question every causal claim and plan for deviations. 3. Ethics stems from shared human sentiments. 4. Test and adapt constantly in the face of uncertainty. 5. Live the evidence, act on empathy, and keep learning. If you're enjoying this, please like, share, and subscribe for more. Reflective question for the audience. In what single way can you apply Hume? Insistence on curiosity and evidence in your life this week?